Welcome to Deep World Updates. Please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon for more updates. Manila breaking. History was being made as the city awoke to a new era in maritime security. In a move that stunned observers worldwide, Japan officially transferred 2 advanced warships to the Philippines, cementing a historic defense pact between the two nations. The world watched with anticipation as the former Japanese warships, JDS Abukuma and JDS Jinsu, cut through the waves toward Philippine shores. Their journey was more than a simple voyage. It was a signal of a dramatic shift in the balance of power and security across the Indo-Pacific. This wasn't just a hardware deal, it was a bold statement to the world that the old rules of engagement and regional order no longer applied. The transfer represented a new willingness to adapt and respond to emerging threats. For decades, Japan's pacifist constitution made such military transfers unthinkable. The nation's post-war identity was built on restraint. Now that precedent was shattered, and a new chapter was being written in Japanese defense policy. In Manila, anticipation was electric. The city buzzed with excitement and pride as citizens gathered along the waterfront to witness history unfold before their eyes. News crews from around the globe lined the docks, eager to capture every moment of this unprecedented event. Government officials spoke in hushed tones, aware of the gravity of the moment and the responsibility it carried for the nation's future. Meanwhile, the Philippine Navy prepared for a transformation that would redefine its role in the region. Sailors readied equipment, knowing their fleet was about to be reborn. For years, the Philippine Navy had been hampered by outdated ships and limited resources. Now, with the arrival of these modern warships, the Navy was poised to make a quantum leap in capability and confidence. The transfer was just one part of a broader security pact, one that included shared intelligence, joint training exercises, and a commitment to mutual defense. Together, the two nations joined a united front for freedom of navigation, working alongside allies to keep vital sea lanes open and secure for all. This was more than a transaction, it was the forging of a new alliance, a direct response to rising regional threats and growing uncertainty in Southeast Asia. As the ships neared Subic Bay, their arrival marked a turning point not just for the Philippines and Japan, but for the entire Indo-Pacific security architecture. The symbolism was powerful, and the implications far-reaching. The world's eyes were on the Philippines, witnessing a moment of profound national significance. Across the country, people watched live broadcasts, aware that their nation was stepping onto the global stage. The message was unmistakable. A new era of collective defense and regional cooperation had begun, with Japan and the Philippines at its heart. The story was no longer about old ships or past limitations, but about a new chapter in regional power, resilience, and partnership. The Indo-Pacific would never be the same. The dawn of a new era had arrived, and its ripples would be felt across oceans and generations to come. The transfer of the Abukuma-class frigates was more than a bilateral deal. It sent shockwaves through the global security order. Japan, once a restrained military power, was now stepping up as a proactive security provider. This move challenged the old US-centric alliance system, signaling a new era of multi-nation coalitions. Middle powers like Japan, Australia, and India were now actively shaping their own security environment. The Abukuma transfer became a cornerstone of this new defense lattice, pooling resources to protect shared interests. For global trade, the implications were huge. The South China Sea's security underpins trillions in commerce. By empowering the Philippines, Japan was helping secure vital sea lanes for the world. This was about more than regional security. It was about safeguarding the global economic system. The handover ceremony unfolded on the open waters of the West Philippine Sea, a location chosen for its deep symbolism and historical significance. Here, where the waves have witnessed centuries of maritime encounters, a new chapter was being written. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, the newly renamed BRP Andres Bonifacio and BRP Gregorio del Pilar sailed proudly in formation with the Philippine fleet. The sight of these ships, gleaming in the morning sun, inspired hope and pride among those watching from both nations. Japanese and Filipino dignitaries stood shoulder to shoulder, united in purpose, as the Hinomaru was ceremoniously lowered and the Philippine flag was raised high. The air reverberated with the thunder of a 21-gun salute, marking the solemnity and importance of the occasion. Japanese sailors, with a sense of honor and nostalgia, saluted their former ships one last time. In their place, proud Filipino crews stood at attention, ready to take on the responsibility of safeguarding their nation's waters. This was more than a simple transfer of hardware, it was a powerful gesture of trust, respect, and a shared vision for peace and security in the region. The handshake between officers symbolized a partnership built on mutual understanding and a commitment to a common future. Philippine officials hailed the event as the dawn of a new era in credible defense. They emphasized that these ships would serve as guardians of sovereignty, not as instruments of aggression, underscoring the nation's desire for peace and stability. The arrival of the Abukuma-class frigates, equipped with state-of-the-art sensors and weaponry, marked a turning point for the Philippine Navy. For the first time, the country possessed a credible deterrent, capable of defending its maritime interests and deterring potential threats. These ships represented more than just steel and technology. They embodied the spirit of national renewal, unity, and unwavering resolve. For the sailors and the nation, they were a source of pride and a symbol of hope for a secure future. With these new additions, the Philippines could now patrol its vast and contested waters with newfound authority and confidence, ensuring the protection of its people and its sovereignty for generations to come. Japan's transfer of warships marks a historic pivot from its long-standing post-war pacifism to a new era of proactive partnership in regional security. For decades, Japan's constitution and public sentiment kept its military role strictly defensive, but the changing security landscape has prompted a significant shift in policy and mindset. This evolution was driven by China's growing assertiveness in the region, especially in contested waters, and the realization that relying solely on U.S. security guarantees was no longer sufficient to ensure Japan's safety and regional stability. In response, Japan's leaders have reframed their approach to security. They now argue that helping allies defend themselves is not an act of aggression, but a necessary defensive measure that ultimately strengthens Japan's own security and contributes to a stable Asia-Pacific. The transfer of a Japanese warship to the Philippines stands as the clearest and most symbolic sign of this new strategy, demonstrating Japan's willingness to support partners on the front lines of regional tensions. By bolstering the so-called First Island chain with modern naval assets and participating in joint military exercises, Japan aims to deter potential aggression and prevent conflict through the demonstration of collective strength and unity among allies. Importantly, the move is carefully framed as a grant, not a sale, to navigate domestic sensitivities and reassure the Japanese public that the nation's core values of peace and restraint remain intact. The Japanese public, while still deeply valuing peace and wary of military entanglements, now increasingly accepts a stronger security role for Japan in the face of real and growing threats in the region. This is not a rejection of pacifism, but rather an adaptation, recognizing that in today's world, peace must be actively secured and sometimes defended, not simply hoped for. Japan's new approach is clear: peace through partnership and strength, forging alliances to ensure a safer, more stable future for the region. The transfer sent immediate shockwaves through the Indo-Pacific's diplomatic circles. The U.S. applauded Japan's move, seeing it as a model for allies sharing the security burden. Australia welcomed the development, viewing it as a boost for regional stability and trilateral cooperation. Beijing, however, condemned the transfer, accusing Japan of stoking tensions and reviving militarism. Chinese media painted it as a provocative act aimed at encircling China. For Southeast Asian nations, reactions were mixed. Some quietly approved, others worried about an arms race. The move forced ASEAN countries to reconsider their strategic positions. The region's fault lines deepened, and the stakes grew higher. The transfer was more than a naval upgrade, it was a catalyst for new alignments and anxieties. Every nation now faced difficult choices in a rapidly shifting landscape. For the Philippine Navy, the Abukuma-class frigates are a game-changer. With advanced missiles, sonar, and surveillance, the ships finally give the Philippines a credible defense posture. No longer outmatched, the Navy can now patrol and protect its vast maritime domain. Beyond hardware, the ships inspire national pride, a visible sign of sovereignty and resilience. The frigates will lead patrols in the West Philippine Sea, safeguarding resources and deterring illegal activity. Their arrival elevates the entire military, demanding new training and professionalism. These ships are a foundation for future modernization and a training ground for the next generation. The Philippines is no longer a bystander, it's ready to defend its future. For Japan, the transfer is as strategic as it is generous. The JMSDF is modernizing, bringing in advanced Mogami-class frigates and phasing out older ships. Rather than scrap capable vessels, Japan strengthens alliances by transferring them to key partners. This cascade strategy keeps valuable assets in the region and addresses Japan's manpower challenges. Modern ships need fewer crew, older ships find new life with allies like the Philippines. The move also showcases Japanese defense technology, opening doors for future exports and collaborations. Most importantly, it cements Japan's role as a regional leader and reliable security partner. The transfer builds goodwill and a united front at a critical maritime crossroads. The Abukuma-class transfer is just the beginning of a deeper Japan-Philippines naval partnership. Success with these frigates paves the way for even more advanced ships, like the Asagiri and Murasame-class destroyers. These vessels would give the Philippines greater range, firepower, and air defense, true game-changers. Each step builds trust and capability, transforming the relationship from donor-recipient to strategic partners. The phased approach lets the Philippine Navy modernize incrementally, mastering each new platform. The prospect of a modern, capable fleet is now within reach. The journey has just begun, and the stakes for regional security have never been higher. The future of the Philippine Navy is being written now. The transfer is a milestone, but the path ahead is fraught with risks. China's likely response: more aggressive patrols, military pressure, or economic coercion. A miscalculation at sea could escalate into wider conflict, drawing in Japan and the US. Both Tokyo and Manila face domestic critics wary of entanglement and the costs of maintaining advanced ships. Regionally, the move could fuel insecurity, forcing ASEAN nations to pick sides and risking further polarization. Diplomatic outreach will be essential to ease tensions and prevent an arms race. The alliance's success depends on wise leadership, constant communication, and a commitment to peace. The new frigates are tools of deterrence, not provocation. Their true value lies in making diplomacy the preferred path.